Could Greece become the first eurozone economy to collapse as it struggles to fund its soaring public debt? Not according to Prime Minister George Papandreou. His socialist government aims to cut the national deficit to 3% of GDP within 2 years, down from 12.7% today. Papandreou, who came to power in October, says the use of inaccurate data by the previous government hid the extent of the economic malaise.
Prime Minister, welcome to Euronews. An unexpected high deficit, 12.7% of the GDP, jeopardizes the financial credibility of your country. So what are you ready to do to avoid mismanagement in national statistics in the future?
You are right, there is a credibility gap, and we want to make sure that Greece is credible. This is, I think, our major right now problem. And the first thing we are doing, and in the next few days we will be voting in Parliament, an independent agency for statistics. Actually, not only an independent agency, there will be an independent agency where even the Eurostat representative will be on the board. And secondly, we will have a special unit for the Parliament, parliamentarians to be able to check. So we have checks and balances from the Parliament towards the government to see that we are implementing the budget in the correct way and that our statistics are very transparent. We are a government of transparency. We have come in to fight both mismanagement, clientelism and corruption, which unluckily have been one of the reasons we have lost resources and squandered them. And so this is absolutely essential for us, first of all for the Greek people.
In the current crisis, why did you insist so much on refusing foreign assistance from the EU or from the IMF? Shouldn't there be, for example, a duty of solidarity within the eurozone?
Well, first of all, we are not asking for any extra funding from the European Union. We believe we don't need that extra funding. We need to put our own house in order. I believe that we have had a vote of confidence from the international markets also that we can, when we do need to go out to the markets to borrow, we do get the necessary funds. But of course they are still expensive and we need to cut that down. And that we will do by showing that we're credible and we are cutting down our deficit. We do have, of course, assistance from the European Union through the structural funds. And we will be, over the next few years, absorbing approximately 16 billion euro, which has been allotted to Greece. This will be important for, if you like, countervailing the necessary cuts we will be doing to put these in development of jobs, education, infrastructure, green alternative energy, which is, I think, the area where we will be able to excel and create a new dynamic in our economy.
But are you still in a position to tax the rich and help the poor, or do you intend to shrink deficits by pay and pension cuts the Irish way?
Well, I think I would say that we have a number of measures. One is, of course, the need that we create a more just tax system. A more just tax system does mean there will be more tax for the richer. There will be a more equitable distribution. And this, I think, is also very important to create strong tax consciousness, if you like, from our citizens, because we have, one of our problems in Greece is wide tax evasion. If we didn't have wide tax evasion, we would not have this deficit problem right now. So this is one of the areas. But at the same time, we are making cuts, big cuts in the budget, and we are also making cuts in specifically in the top-ups, the bonuses that and the public sector gets, cutting down, therefore, in those wages, and particularly at the middle to upper level of our civil servants. So yes, we are taking other measures also. It is a combination. I would also add we are now in the process of revamping our social security system, our pension system. We are now in the middle of a dialogue with our social partners, and by April we will have concluded.
But farmers already went on strikes, and other sectors should follow late February. So how can you ensure lasting support for your reform plans in terms of Greek public opinion?
I believe we will have the support because people understand that we must make a change. This has been our motto, this has been our goal, this is what we were elected on, and I have called upon the farmers to understand that we're at the beginning of our government. We only were elected a few months ago, a little bit more than 100 days over, and the problems that they are talking about are problems that have been around for quite a few years and cannot be solved from one day to another. So I do hope that the dialogue we will have with them will allow us to get their support and make them an agent of change for changing our agriculture also.
Last question about enlargement, EU enlargement. What is your position on its future towards Turkey and Balkans, and which calendar do you see for it?
Well, I have always been in favor of making sure that Turkey has the prospect of becoming a full member, and Greece was instrumental in making this decision in the European Union in 1999, 10 years ago, and I then was foreign minister. I still believe in that, but it does mean that Turkey also lives up to its responsibilities, and we certainly have problems which we haven't solved, some of them in our region, Cyprus, our bilateral relations, Greek-Turkish bilateral relations, questions of religious and human rights. And I do look forward to a meeting with Prime Minister Erdogan. I have now officially invited him to come to Greece to discuss our relationship and, of course, Turkey's prospects for the European Union. As concerns the rest of the Balkans, Southeastern Europe, I think it's absolutely necessary we move forward and we give a timetable which will help both mobilize, I would say, the European Union institutions, but also mobilize the countries in the Western Balkans to do their reforms. The date that I have suggested, and I think there has been a widespread appeal in our region, is 2014. 2014 is symbolic. It is 100 years after the beginning of the First World War, which began in the Balkans. And that way we can close a cycle of instability, tension, even sometimes violence in the region, by incorporating these countries in the European Union.
Kyrie Πρωθυπουργέ, σας ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Thank you. Ευχαριστώ και εγώ.